Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. The South Carolina Supreme Court has overturned the double murder convictions of Alex Murdaugh for the 2021 killings of his wife, Margaret Murdaugh, and son, Paul Murdaugh. The state's highest court ordered a new trial, ruling that the original trial was tainted by improper external influences from County Clerk Becky Hill. Hill pleaded guilty last year to lying about showing sealed court documents to a photographer and received a 1-year probation sentence. In its 5-0 decision, the court stated that Hill placed her fingers on the scales of justice, thereby denying Murdaugh his right to a fair trial by an impartial jury. South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson has stated his office will aggressively seek to retry Murdaugh. Murdaugh's attorneys welcomed the decision, expressing anticipation for a new trial conducted according to constitutional guidelines. Al Jazeera reports that Russia has added former British Defense Minister Ben Wallace to its wanted list, reportedly in connection with an unspecified criminal investigation, which state media suggests is linked to terrorism-related charges. Wallace served as the UK's defense minister from 2019 until August 2023 and has been a vocal advocate for increasing military support to Kyiv. The move comes after Wallace publicly suggested in October last year that Ukraine should target the bridge linking southern Russia to annex Crimea, stating, "We need to smash the cursed bridge." The Kremlin had previously dismissed his remarks as stupid. This action by Russia is part of a broader pattern of cracking down on dissent and targeting individuals perceived as hostile to its narrative on the war in Ukraine, including exiled oligarchs and even the International Criminal Court prosecutor. Independent news outlet Mediazona indicates that dozens of European politicians and officials are on Russia's wanted list. Al Jazeera reports that at least 6 people have been killed and dozens injured in what Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky described as one of the longest massive Russian attacks against Ukraine. The prolonged assault, which began on Wednesday morning and lasted for hours, targeted Kyiv, the western city of Lviv, and the Black Sea port of Odessa, among other areas. Zelensky warned that cruise and ballistic missile strikes could follow the initial drone attacks, stating Russia's obvious goal is to overload air defenses. Fatalities were reported across several regions, including Kherson, Rivne, Kharkiv, and Zaporizhia. Meanwhile, Russia's Ministry of Defense claimed its forces intercepted and destroyed 286 Ukrainian drones overnight across multiple Russian regions and over the Black and Azov Seas. Russian officials also reported Ukrainian drone attacks injuring people and damaging homes in Bryansk and Belgorod regions, and in Russian-controlled parts of Ukraine's Kherson region. These attacks continued despite recent suggestions from both U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin that the war could be nearing its end. Global News reports that gunshots broke out at the Philippine Senate in Manila on Wednesday as Senator Ronald De La Rosa, a former police chief and key enforcer of ex-President Rodrigo Duterte's war on drugs, resisted an International Criminal Court (ICC) arrest warrant. The Hague-based court unsealed charges of crimes against humanity against De La Rosa, who has denied involvement in illegal killings. Security forces reportedly entered the building, leading to chaos, though no immediate casualties were reported. De La Rosa urged public mobilization to prevent his transfer to the ICC, while President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. called for calm, stating his government was not involved and had not instructed the arrest. De La Rosa has filed an emergency petition with the Supreme Court to block his transfer, arguing the Philippines is no longer an ICC signatory. UPI reports that Peru's public ministry has requested a 5-year, 4-month prison sentence for leftist presidential candidate Roberto Sanchez, along with a permanent ban from leading his Juntos por el Perú party. Sanchez is accused of making false statements in administrative proceedings and falsifying campaign finance information from 2018 to 2020. A fiscal audit found the party reported zero income during these periods, but allegedly collected nearly $81,500 from dues and contributions, which prosecutors claim were diverted to personal accounts. This request comes as Sanchez has secured a spot in the presidential runoff election against Keiko Fujimori. Despite the charges, he is permitted to continue campaigning, as a candidacy can only be annulled by a final conviction upheld on appeal. If elected, Peru's constitution would grant him presidential immunity, suspending criminal proceedings until his term concludes. The first major legal hearing is scheduled for May 27 to determine if the charges will be dismissed or proceed to a public criminal trial. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.